Friends, uh, friends, I'm taking today. This is a sequel series. I'm taking. This is third one. Okay, a third one of the series, and I think this would last up to at least two more or four more, because every time when I'm starting, I'm able to conclude only 7 to 8 judgments. Okay, so I'm not able to complete everything which I've decided, but I'm going to continue. I'm going to hold it for a more long time, and after finishing this, I'll see that it is available at the later stage on the portal also for the purpose of uh, for the purpose of uh, uh, for the purpose of understanding the concept. I will include even the circular notification act and section, so that you are able to understand everything properly. With this, I'm going by sequence. Our already 1 and 2 series is over. Now I'm last time I've taken a judgment. Okay. Last time my judgment was on before I'm going to our recent PPT YouTube present available on blog. See Nitin Pathak blogspot.com. Analysis of budget to interim budget. This is also 100 judgment. GST part 2 and 3 is also available blog. The amendment or impact or MSME section 43B is also available on blog. Time management, there are a number of presentation is available in blog, including preventive, corrective, detective, risk management, core banking company, gift city and disadvantage, cybersecurity frauds, and ITC. This one next Saturday. The sequel would 4 continue. On the basis of judgment, it would be a 6:30 same time. This would be available on blog. Physically also, you can attend the seminar. This is the last judgment I've taken on 148 Taxman 364. Last judgment is mouse के लिए mousepad and the mousepad. In terms of this thing, 148 Taxman 361. This was a very lengthy judgment. This was on the basis of intermediary definition, which was taken into consideration longly in the EY judgment, and the section 13.8 place of intermediary location. The intermediary definition, at the appellate stage, at the assessment stage, they have considered EY not entitled for refund on ITC, which they have claimed because they were exporting of the services, because they have considered as intermediary services under section 13 subsection 8. Because of this, they have not considered the ITC, but once they have established that it is an export of services, the export of service definition, we have explained in detail about the contract which is made, why it is considered. There was a contract between EY and EY India and EY Global in section 2 export services, and hence they were entitled for a refund. This is judgment of EY, which I've already covered. Slides will be available on portal. Hence, I've just taken it for 1 minute only. I have taken only one slide so that you can link with the last talk with this talk. Now I'm going into 148 Taxman 487 Tongo Imaging India Private Limited versus Union of India. What was the judgment? There was a restricted provision rules declared under Rule 89(4)(c). There was a notification issued, and on the basis of that, the refund which was entitled because of the notification, because of the rule made by that, the person who export the good were not entitled for a full refund. Hence, the notification and rules is considered as ultra vires of the law. This is the concept. What is the concept? Availability of rotation fund is essential for business to thrive. Entire concept of refund unutilized input credit relating to zero-rated supply would be obliterated in case of a department was permitted to put any limitation and condition that would take away the petitioner's right to claim refund of all taxes paid on a domestic purchase used for purchase of zero-rated supply. The amendment under of Rule 89(4)(c) is arbitrary and unreasonable in as much as the possibility of taking undue benefit by inflating the value of zero-rated supply of goods could not be the ground to amend the rule. Said rule is invalid. Respondent of revenue should accept the refund claim, and refund should be claimed. What they are saying, they have taken a plea that people are inflating this thing. To avoid the inflating the bill, they have made proportionate less refund. What I said, this law is ultra-vires because this law is made to make available the fund to the beneficiary. Hence, this law is ultra-vires. Please refer section 54 GST, Rule 9089, and notification issued there, and 60 para 21 of the judgment, which I have already put it on the blog. With this, some certain times we think that rule is always valid, but no, rule is ultra-vires, and on the basis of that, the entitlement of refund was declared. Next, we assume that the income tax, the government GST authority has a power to attachment of the property of a person. But here, this is a case of Sakshi Bahal versus Ans Bahal, Sakshi Bahal versus principal additional GST GAT. Generally, we assume that GST has a power in case of SSE, but SSE does not include his wife, relative, any sister concern. They don't have a power to make an attachment for the purpose of whole family or a group of companies. Now, in the context, there is only limited refer section 122A, railway section 80C. These are the only limited power by which they can attach the property of the relative of the SSE. Here, what is the case? The petitioner have filed a present petition interior informing the order and dated 6 February 2023, whereby respondent has ordered provisional attachment of saving bank account of the petitioner as detailed below. It is the petitioner's case that they are neither taxable person nor person covered under section 122(1)(a) of CGST. Therefore, implementation expression without jurisdiction. Refer section 122(1)(a) and section 83. Section 83, what says? What section 83 empowers provisional attachment, and then they have to prescribe certain facility, and this provision would be applicable limited to 1 year. Now I am reading the provisional attachment of section 83. Provisional attachment to protect the revenue in certain cases where after initiation of any proceeding under chapter 12, 14 and 15, the commissioner is of opinion that for the purpose of protecting the interest of the government revenue, it is necessary so to do. He may by order in writing attach provisionally any property. Any property means immovable, movable. Movable includes bank, shares, LIC, everything. To do so, he may by order in writing attach provisionally any property, including bank account belonging to taxable person or any person specified in section 1A of section 122. He cannot do it all except if you are falling under section 1A of section 20. In each such matter, he may do it. In this case, Sakshi Bahal was the person. He cannot attach the property of his husband. He cannot attach the property of partnership firm or firm in which he is interested. This is not so. Every such provisional attachment shall cease to have effect after the expiry of 1 year from the date on which the attachment is made. Attachment is provisional. Then they have to follow the procedure. Here I have considered section 122 1E. What they're saying, 122 1E is a provision which allows where a taxable person who supplies any goods or services or both without issue, where it is possible, is a taxable person. Taxable person is entity, but the entity which has done this, all this lafra, all this they say. Supply of good, any goods or services or both without issue of invoices. I supply goods without issue of invoices. Then not available. I issue invoices. This the issue is incorrect or false invoice. Where any invoice or bill, I raise an invoice. I pay IGST, he pay IGST, but if it is without supply of goods, section 122(1)(2), most of the parties are covered under this. 122(1) subsection 2, they issue the invoice, they issue the this thing, they pay GST, all the INS, all the they are available in portal, but which is not supplied with the goods and services, it will not be. Take or utilize tax credit without actual receipt of the goods. This is also covered. Takes or issue or utilize the input of tax credit without actual receipt of goods or services or both, fully or partially in contravention of the provision of this section. Takes or distribute tax input credit in contravention of section 20 of ISD or the rules made thereunder. He is the one person is an authority and he distributes the input credit. This will also be not available. Any person who retains the benefit of transactions covered under section 1, 2, 6, and 9. I have covered only this section. I have not covered the whole 122(1) definition. I have not covered 3, 4, 5, nearly I have not written here. I have covered the section which is applicable to this. Suppose I made a fraud and I pass on the benefit to my relative, any concern. That case, that to the extent the benefit I pass on, their attachment can be possible, but not otherwise. Section 122(1), 1A. Suppose I have given, suppose A is a person who has made a fraud, and he has given a loan to B, and B has given of this money to B from which we borrowed. He will not be, and this section will not be applicable. This section would be applicable only if there is a provision manipulation made under section 1, 2, 7, and 9. Okay. Okay. Are you clear? Yes. The provisional attachment of bank account, ITC fraud, alleged. Provisional attachment of bank account, ITC fraud. ITC fraud was alleged against the third party. Saving bank, provisional attachment of bank account, ITC fraud. ITC was alleged against the third party. That is a relative or a person or this is saving bank account of a petitioner were previously attached. Petitioner that advances the loan when they were extended by them to state accused years back in the fund received by them from the accuser, mainly the return of money. If it is not under section 122, 1A, 1, 2, 7, and 9, then only that attachment is possible or permissible. Otherwise, that attachment is not permissible. Okay. Saving account of a petitioner where provisionally attached petitioner submitted advance petitioner annexed the statement of their account for 9 years, including indicating sufficient amount of account petitioner in his favor held. Now this is a judgment. Power under section to provisionally attach the asset or bank or limited to attaching bank account asset of taxable person and person specified under section 122 1A. One is for the person, taxable person, and one under section 122 to the extent he got the benefit. If he is given the money for the transaction made by us, is not allowable. Not attachment is not permissible. It is not open up to the department to attach the bank account of other person on a mere assumption that fund therein owned by the taxable person. Since this is the petitioner was not taxable person or person is specified in the impulse statement of order was set aside. So my SSCA can be attached because his amount is due but not paid, which is as per rule, which is as per what I said, Sakshi Bahal. Clear? This is chapter 12, chapter 14, chapter 15. The commissioner is the opinion, but he cannot attach the property of the relative or the sister concern or the person in which he is involved unless he has passed the credit, which under section 122 1A, which already covered. 1, 2, 8, and 9. Otherwise, he cannot attach the property. Clear? Sakshi Bahal. This would clear all attachment related to things. This is why I've talked twice and thrice on this subject. Okay. Now I am into next slides. Divakar Enterprise versus Commissioner of CGST. The petitioner SSE has approached this court by filing the present writ petition for issuance of a writ in the nature of mandamus for issuance of a direction to respondent number 1 to refund 1.999.99 crore along with the interest. Further prayer, the petitioner was issued a direction to unblock the credit of rupees 24.18 lakh. The fact stated in this petition are as and the petitioner is engaged in the business of khali jagah. Respondent number 2 block his input credit 24.18 lakh lying in enterprise to which he filed an objection. This is a matter with the High Court, Punjab and Haryana High Court. The respondent number searched the premises of petition on 14th January 2021 and Abhinav Sahiya, director, was questioned throughout the search, and thereafter he was forcibly taken to office whereby he was detained for 2 days. He was pressurized to depose 1.9 crore. The petitioner lodged a protest regarding the said deposit. Respondent thereafter further said the premises and asked to deposit 25 lakh forcibly. The Gujarat High Court. Gujarat High Court in the case of Bombay Associate versus Union of India, the following guidelines were issued and it has been upheld by the department. Okay. CBDT has said, okay, we will follow the whole 4 guidelines. What is the 4 guidelines? No recovery in any mode by check, cash or e-payment or adjustment of input credit should be made at the time of search or inspection proceeding under section 67 of CGST Act under any circumstances. Even if the SSC comes forward to make a voluntary payment under DRC 3, the SSC would be asked or advised to file such form DRC 3 on the next day after the end of the such proceeding and after the officers of visiting them left. So, what is the further? The first slide I'm speaking again. No recovery anymore by check, cash e-payment, or adjustment of any input credit should be made at the time of such. They should not do any of these SLs during the search under section 67. Even if the SSC comes forward for filing a DRC 3, they should be asked to wait until we leave, you don't pay it. You pay the next day. Facility. After under section 67, if any officer left, facility of filing a complaint after the end of the search proceeding should be made available to the SSC if the SSC was forced to make payment in any mode during the pendency of the search proceeding. If complaint or grievance is filed by the SSC, an officer found to have acted in defiance of the aforesaid stated matter, then strict disciplinary action should be initiated against the concerned officer. This is the guidelines provided in Bhumi Associate and it been circulated to other department of GST. Here, before coming to a conclusion, Divakar Enterprise, the following cases were referred. Karnataka High Court in case of Union Bank of India versus Bundle Technology. This judgment, all this relevant judgment I'm putting in this slide in my blog. I have not written, otherwise it becomes so lengthy. Vallabh Textile versus Senior Intelligence Officer versus Xmen.com. Bhumi Associate, which we are here, versus Union of India. Article 300A 264 TC. If you read into article, they have been very categorically in one line. And they have been referred and they have been quoted, and on the basis of this, judgment is passed. Section 74 save by of the CGST. I am going to next slide. 142 section 2 of CGST rule 2000 aware, where before the service of notice or statement, the person chargeable to tax make the payment of the tax or interest, tax and interest in accordance with the provision of section 73(5), or as the case may be, tax in the provision in accordance with provision of 74(5), where any person make a payment interest or any other amount due in accordance with the provision of the act, whether it is on his own settlement or communicated by the proper officer under rule sub 1A, he shall inform proper officer in such form DRC 3, and the proper officer shall issue an acknowledgement of accepting the payment made by the same person in DRC 4. In this Divakar enterprise, 1.99 crore, 25 lakh, and reversal of ITC, where this rule was not followed. Hence, the direction is given to repay the money back to them. In the present case, what the department petitioner deposited the entire amount voluntarily. What department took a stand? They have come voluntarily and paid the tax. But Article 265 of the Constitution lays down that. What article says? Tax is not imposed by saved by authority law. This is exactly verbatim I have taken from that. What is further is saying, what is this? If tax is collected without any authority of law, the same would amount to depriving of a person of his property without any authority of law and would infringe his right under. So what I'm covering under 265, tax is not to be imposed by save by authority of law. Authority of law means act, rules, notification, circular. These are all covered. If the present case, no receipt was given by the professor after accepting the impugned amount, thus the amount deposited by the petitioner and the protest were liable to be refunded in view of. In the present case, no receipt was given by the professor accepting the impugned amount, thus the amount deposited by the petitioner under the protest were liable to be refunded in view of the above mentioned judgment as per the petitioner have been deprived of a right. Article 300E is referred. So these are the article you can refer when you feel that you are agitated, you are punished, you have been this thing. This is the judgment I've taken for the purpose of that. You feel that you're gone, but it's not so. So if you read it to Article 300, in short, if DRC 3, DRC 4 or condition is mentioned in there as per Bhumi Enterprise is not followed, then you are entitled to get the refund. Section, now I am going into the next judgment under 153 Taxman Com.46. Shahu George versus State Officer. Petitioner is aggrieved by the judgment dated 16 February 2023 of a learned single judge who disposed of the petition. Now, this is a very difficult judgment. Now, if you see that, now I'm going to give the whole judgment in what line. Now, why all these Supreme Court and High Court judgment? Because we don't understand the concept of the law. Now, once you read the all 100 judgment, your concept clarity of the whole law would be clear. Sometimes you think that you're right, but you're wrong. Sometimes you think you're wrong, but you may be right. This is what you can understand, which is explained in the judgment of ENY, where they've considered intermediary, but it was covered under export of service. In Shobham Ball's case, what they have done, they have provisionally attached the property, but they were not entitled for. And the judgment of they collected the money, but they have not followed the law for women enterprise. You are entitled to get a refund, even if it is deposited there. So this is the third of the series. This is the fourth judgment, which I am discussing. Petitioner is aggrieved by the judgment dated 16 February 2023 of a learned single bench who disposed of the petition filing direct the respondent that IIB to consider the pass order represent preferred by the here in release of cash that was seized. from his premise. This is the case in which search has taken place, cash is seized. Now, this is a wonderful judgment. If you understand properly, there is so much clarity. If income tax department come and sees the property, X law. If GST, there are different purpose. GST department wants to see that their cash is seized, to see that there is no tax is avoided. But when it comes to income tax department, they go into different forum. Now I'm with this concept for tax, I'm reading the judgment. The learned single judge did not accept the contents of the parent, was honored especially when the university itself was alleged by evasion of tax due of the appellant under GST. Single judge says no, GST was right. But when it goes to another bench, double bench, in the appeal before the learned council, this is constitutional bench, where they have covered in the appeal before us. Learned counsel for the appellant point out that while it may be a fact that civil provision authorize seizure of a thing from the premises of an assessee who is processed proceed against the GST. The word things include cash in appropriate cases. Okay. What they said, things include cash. However, in the instant case, this is a case where seizure of a case was now unwarranted. More so, when the case did not form a part of stock in trade. Any business stated above to have been carried by the appellant. It is further pointed out that although the inspection of a premises of the appellant was conducted on 9 June 2022, nothing was heard. 5 months have gone, no communication. When the appellant preferred a representation seeking return of a cash sale from the world, it is said that the appellant still not been served with any SCN pursuant to seizure of a cash. During the pendency of a writ petition, writ appeal, IO passed an order dated 21st March 2023 disposing the representation preferred by the appellant as per the direction of the learned single judge. On reading of the order that rejects the said representation, we find that stand taken by the intelligence officer is essentially in view of specific provision of section 16(7)(2) of the CGST authorized seizure of a thing, which include cash. Also held that High Court of Madhya Pradesh in case of the blah blah blah. The authority was justified seizing as retaining the same pending culmination of investigation. Here, what is the IO's conclusion remark is? It is suspicious that this much amount of money kept in the house of Mr. Shahu is idle and not deposited in a bank. And further, the amount received as a gift on the day of a marriage he has not been recorded in his income tax return. And from it, this is evident the money is from illicit sources. What the IU remarks that it was from the marriage sources or from illicit sources, but they are not linked with any of the GST issue. Health. Therefore, a state finding of the IU could perhaps have been justified had he been the officer attached to the income tax department. In the context, GST amount, the finding is wholly irrelevant. We find that seizure of cash from the government operator is wholly uncalled for and unwarranted. Moreover, as respondent had retained the keys for more than 6 months and just to issue a so-called notice in connection with there is no justification of keeping cash. The amount shall be released to the appellant without any delay at any date within weeks, 1 week of the date of the receipt of the copy. So Sahu judgment is very what they have concluded. The findings are not proper. It is relative income tax law. So any branches on part of income tax you need not consider GST department. You can file paper, hand over the paper to GST department, to IT department. 1, 2, 3, 4 judgment we have covered. Now we are into it's a Sahu judgment is very, very profound judgment. Now this Vikas Kumar saying versus CST, what they said, there is a law. What law says? There is a search provision, there is a survey provision, there is an assessment provision, 73, 74, and these are the sequence you need to follow. You need to issue SCN. In SCN, you have to mention these are the flow in your return. There is a department, there is 3, 1, 2A difference plus these are the credit one, and these are the input credit which you wrongly claimed. These are output claim which should have been under this rate and you done in this rate. Exactly whole information for each party has to be explained. Then only we can handle. You cannot handle otherwise. Okay. This is the crux of the issue. Next period, April 18 to March 19. The petitioner has sought The petition has sought a quashing of a so-called notice dated 7th October 2023. 20. Section 73 of Jharkhand GST. Petitioner has also laid on the challenge of summary of SC and dated GSTR 1. What they're saying? The DRC 1 which is given needs to be challenged. Whereas the summary of the order passed under DRC 7. Yes, challenge the DRC 7. All such notices and order has been issued by DCID. One petition, one is engaged in civil construction, petition 2 is Ma Parvati Medical Store, and duly CSA Act. Supreme Court SCN is the teeth of the provision of Section 73(1). And the judgment rendered in the court of in-caste service provision. This in-caste judgment is a very detailed judgment of Jharkhand, where they said a summary of so-called notice cannot be substitute of proper SCN. You make a summary of no. Your SCN should not be a substitute. Summary doesn't go with the SCN. SCN, so there are 10 things. You do only 1 to 10 in this figure. No, it's not a substitute. SCN should be qua party wise, qua item wise, qua this thing. It contains all raw. You cannot say the summary of 1 to 10. No. Summary does not include, because it is a fundamental right of an SSE to explain what is being, why you have been levied this interest, why you have been levied the tax which you have not paid, which you have underpaid, whatever may be, or wrong credit, wrong apportionment. This all should be mentioned in SCN. And say 1 to 10 summary does not give the power to that. What is that summary says? Summary of SCN cannot substitute the proper SCN. Yes, that's been held in the case of NCAS service provider. The SCN does not strike out the relevant particulars and does not even enumerate the controversy which the petitioner have been called up to reply. These proceedings are initiated allegedly on account of dispatch between 3B and 2A for the periodic question, and the petitioner have taken update on ITC, undue ITC, to which they were not entitled for. Petitioner have also taken a plea that summary of the order contained in GST impose a penalty which is impermissible under the provision of Section 73(9). Okay. 100% penalty can only be levied in Section 74(9), not under 75. No adjudication order has been uploaded. It further submitted that proceedings suffer from serious violation of principal justice and the procedure is default in law. On the simply 3 petition number 111, therefore impugns so-called notice, a summary of order quash, and the matter may be remanded to the judicial authority. The detailed explanation is as under. In this case, counter affidavit filed by the GST department pleads that alternate remedy for appeal under Section 107 have been kept. Otherwise, common flank in both the counter affidavit that GST provides the standard format, which only notice has been issued. The DCIT of the Goda Circle is therefore followed what the affidavit says DCIT of Goda Circle has followed all the process laid by them in mentioning the values of charges. Difference between 3B and 2A is detailedly explained. The SCN and the summary of so-called notice, GST and DRC1 clearly mentioned the charge are different between GST and 3B and 2A. A plea has also been taken, the entries of GST and 2A, which are also auto-populated. Figure inward supply takes place GST part of 1 is a dynamic in nature and changes in GST 1 by the supplier and taxpayer. Thus, after filing GST 1 by the supplier, any changes made by the GST 2A by the taxpayer was never brought to the notice of the department either during adjudication or until using the filing. Therefore, because of late filing of GST 1 by the supplier, interest under Section 50 of the 2007 are required to prevent a loss of revenue to the exchequer. It appears that there is no specific denial taken by the 100% under Section 73(1) read with Section 73(9). Learned Counsel for the state have, however, submitted that in case of the impugnance of SCN, a summary of order are quashed, liberty may be granted to the revenue. What Learned Counsel for the have argued that Learned Counsel says have submitted that in case of impugnance SCN summary of order were quashed, liberty may be granted to revenue to initiate the proceeding after the proper appreciation under Section 73(10), and there is a time limit of 31st December 2023. Yes. We have considered the submission made by the Learned Counsel as well as the department, taken note of the same. We may straight away point out that notices under Section 73(1) of the Act 2017 in respect of writ petition are in the standard format. Neither any particulars have been struck off, nor specific contravention have been indicated to enable the petitioner to furnish a proper reply to defend themselves. The CN can therefore be termed as a war. IB, IBR, there are different 73.5, 73.1, 73.5, input tax credit, output tax credit, wrongly reversal of entry. There nothing is mentioned in there. Just standard format. As you have not issued the proper notices, no proper deletion. This is a secular style matter and no application of mine. SCN can be considered as what? This court had, in the case of ENCA Services Limited category, held that summary of SCN and DRC cannot be the summary of SCN notice in GST or DRC1 cannot substitute the requirement of proper support notice under Section 73(1). 73(1) is the procedure aspect, which is the fundamental right of the SSE. It seems that the authority have, after issue of SCN dated 7th October and 20th October, and summary of SCN notice dated DRC1 on the same date, proceed to summary assessment on the bar and 24. In the order, respondent have also brought to the record the adjudication order. They have issued 7/10, 2010 and then issued the order, but they have not recorded the explanation. Respondent have also brought to the record the adjudication order. So when they met again, the adjudication has also accepted the plea of that person, of the GST department. In this regard, opinion of the court in rendering Ahmedabad versus State of Jharkhand, we find the CN completely silent the provision and control alleged to be done by the petitioner. We find that SCN is completely violation of the contravention. What tax credit, what input tax credit, they have not mentioned anything. Alleged to have been made done by the petitioner regarding which he has to defend himself. The summary of SCN notice annexure to, though cannot be substituted to this SCN, also fails to describe the necessary facts which could have given as a linking as to the contravention done by the petitioner. As noted herein, the brief facts of the case do not disclose as to which contract. So what they have to say, which work contract, which services were completed or partly completed by the petitioner, regarding which he had not reflected his liability in the file return under GST as may be in question. It needs no iteration that summary of SCN in DSA 1 cannot substitute the requirement of proper SCN. At the same time, if a SCN notice does not specify the ground of proceeding against a person, no amount of tax interest penalty can be imposed in excess of the amount specified in the notice on the ground other than ground specified in section 75(7). Thus, learned counsel of the petitioner were relying on the case of Bharti et al. Also. In the apex courts, common portal at the GST is only a facilitator. The format of DRC 1 and 1A are prescribed permanent on the online portal follow proceeding. They cannot substitute ingredients of a proper SCN. Thus, if SCN does not specify the ground, the revenue cannot be allowed to raise a fresh plea at the time of this. What further says? If you are issue SCN and number 1, you cannot take another opinion, you cannot raise a fresh plea, or you cannot take a contradictory opinion. One SCN is issued, you cannot allow to raise a fresh plea. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot add 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4. You have taken X stand. Now you cannot take Y stand. So these are the things which SCN is the base on which person is liable for punishment. So you cannot change the punishment on the basis of that. If SCN does not specify the ground, revenue cannot be allowed to raise a fresh plea at the time of adjudication, as has been held by apex court in the matter arising of Central Excise versus Sheetal International in para 19 extracted here. As regard the process of electrifying process, now pressed into services by the revenue, it is a law that is common knowledge. Law that unless the foundation is of the case is laid down in the SCN, revenue cannot be permitted to build up a new case of the SSC. Admittedly, in the instant case, no such objection was raised by the AA in the SCN dated 22/6/2001 relating to assessment year khali. However, the SCN dated 12th December, the process of electrifying process finds a brief mention. Therefore, the light of settled league position, the plea of learned counsel of revenue that in that behalf cannot be entertained, as revenue cannot be allowed to raise a fresh plea at the time of AA, or which has not been raised in SA, nor cannot be allowed to have a contradictory stand. They cannot be allowed to change the stand also at a later stage. They have to abide by the stand which they have taken. In a notice under section 74 of GST, the necessary ingredient related to fraud, willful misstatement. 74 is related to fraud, willful misstatement, or suppression of facts. Section 74 is the mala fide intention. 73, the revenue specifically led the violation of quota which has led to not being paid, short pay, innocently refunded, or interest paid wrongly availed. 74 talks about fraud, a willful misstatement of a suppression of fact to evade the tax. 73 alleges contravention, which has led to tax not being paid or short pay or innocently refunded, or it will be wrongly availed users. It is right law that unless the foundation of a case is laid down in SCN, the SSC would be precluded from defending the charges in a vague SCN. That would entail a violation of principle of natural justice. He can only do so if it's told as true. What charges level against him are an allegation on which the charges are based. Reliance is placed on constitutional bench of apex court. This thing. Concluding, I have given all possible details to come to a conclusion. What is the conclusion? SCN is the base. You have to give all details, all these things. Summary doesn't work. Number 2, SCN number stands, you cannot add the stands. You cannot change the stands. So whatever is written in SCN, you cannot change at the appellate authority also. So SCN is the base on which the things are going. Suppose you have you have issued a notice under section 73, you cannot change it to 74. If you say 74, you cannot change to 73. You can issue both. That is not an issue. We are thus of a considered view that impugned SCN notice is contained in Annexure 1 does not fulfill the ingredients of proper SCN and amount to violation of principle necessity. The challenge is entertainable in excess of a writ jurisdiction of this court on the magnified ground, on the specific ground, and clearly held that decision of apex court in case of Magad Sugar versus State of Sihar on para number 20, accordingly, impugned order notice dated annexure A and the summary of SCN dated this is quashed. This court, however, is not inclined to draw the issue whether the requirement of issue of SCMT is a condition of 73. They don't go into that. Since the court has not gone to the merit of respondent, are at liberty to issue fresh proceeding from the stage in accordance with the law in the period of 4 weeks from time. The law authority has been allowed to issue the fresh notice, Vikas Kumar Singh versus Commissioner of State Taxes. Here I have considered the 4 judgments of the different courts, including Supreme Court. The proper professor can levy penalty up to ₹10% under section 73(9). The above infirmity can clearly show that non-application of mind on the part of deputy commissioner of this thing. The proceeding also suffered violation of principle of necessity. The procedure prescribed under section 73 are teeth of judgment referred to in the incas limited. And so this is a judgment which clearly says that SCN and all the procedure you need to follow. You cannot do anything and everything what you want to do just by telling that I want to do like this. So read the customer scene twice times. In this presentation, after presentation, I'll put all the judgment and including the circular notification so that you will be able to come to a conclusion in your case. Where is the flow in SCN? So this whole judgment would make you clear that what you think you are right may be wrong. What you think is right, wrong may be right. For that, you need to understand the whole judgment with so much ease and comfort. जैसे हम स्कूल में जब पढ़े थे तो 1, 2, 3, 4 कितना शांति से पढ़े थे. If you go that, you will be able to understand. This is a very good judgment, Delhi Court judgment. Refund applied on 20th May. Order passed on 30th July. Adjudication 26/11. Invoice dated October. FM money received on November. IGST refund was claimed. They have considered it under wrong head. The judge did not read the submission, and the basis of that, his judgment was deleted, dismissed. The formula under 89 Rule 4 of C. Reject the petitioner claim by referring sub-rule D of Rule 89(4). From the rules on the ground that the turnover reflected for the month of October 18 ought to be considered as turnover for the month of November. They have taken it differently. They have considered that is an LUT, but this is not a case of LUT. This is a case of tax paid and ITC claim. That's why the A's court was rejected. However, OMI Industries ACL Limited versus ACIT, however, apparent authority failed to address the said contention of the proceeding, mechanically reject the petition on the ground as that how much because they have come to the conclusion has we are liable to it. Yes, well, the High A has read of the judgment and they have written as under. Discussion and finding. I have carefully gone through the facts available on record and appeal of memorandum and submission bill by the Turan. I find that Khali Jagya is registered as GST department number Khali Jagya and appears filed a refund claim Khali Jagya dated Khali Jagya amount due to rupees Khali Jagya on account of ITC accrued on export service without payment of tax. What they said without payment of tax. Here it is not an LUT. He has paid the tax. He has paid 118 and ITC refund claim. LUT is a different issue. This is the word they have said they have not read properly. What does ITV accumulate without payment of tax for the month of October? What they have said without payment of month, they have said that it's assumed that it's a clear five, not so. That's why AA said, that's why High Court says you're not gone into the fact, you're just returned. The Assistant Commissioner of Place of this thing, rejected the refund amount of this. Conclusion. The Rule 89(4) of CGST is not applicable in case of a zero-rated product. This is zero-rated. This is not a case of adjudicator, where adjudicator rejected SSA refund claim regarding zero-rated supply and authority also mechanically rejected the petitioner claim. Ex officio erroneous assumption that petitioner was seeking refund on accumulated his impugned order were liable to say LUT was not claimed by agency. The court set aside the order as they have not gone through the facts of the case. Sometimes their statement, their reason, just how Omi Interim Industries Limited's advocate has gone through the facts. And he has made it to conclude. That is why the role of this is why this is important to read this segment. Now, this is also the same type of case. These are the case on which there are three different findings. Adjudicator online application and physical application. There is a law by which when you apply and reject it, you have to apply fresh. Fresh doesn't mean it doesn't go with non-arts. And rule has provided that you have to apply within 2 years' time. And law also provides that once you apply and the query is raised, that time would not be considered for the purpose of period of 2 years. This rule, neither AO applied nor adjudicator applied, and they were rejected. Court says no. Delhi High Court says you are entitled for. Now I am going into the fact. I have given you the whole crux of the judgment. What is the crux? The application does not become non-nursed when it is rejected. It is considered in conjunction with that. You rejected, and what they said, it should be applied online or portal. There was a miscommunication in this also. Third, rule was very categorically said that if you applied within 2 years' time, if any query raised in between from the date of application till the date of objection raised by the department will be excluded for the period of 2 years. This is the law does not understand it. The amount involvement was about more than 2 crore. Now I'm coming into facts. The petitioner impugns the validity of Rule 90 subsection 3 of CGST Rule 2017. The petitioner also assails the paragraph 12 of Circular 124 to 125/44 2019 is ultra vires of 54 of CGST. Denial of his request of refund of rupees 2.63 crore of BSNL. In view of the creditor or not, that the amount received by the petitioner is inclusive of tax. What they have said, they have paid GST on the amount of bill raised by them, 15 crore. And they said it is inclusive. So they paid 18% extra. But if it is 1/18, then the difference will amount to 2.63 crore. File an application of refund under section 2FD to 17 January 2020. If you go to the rule, it is clearly mentioned. They issue a deficiency memo on RFD 3. So this 14 days period is a grace period because of the date of issue of the application and the issue of 14 days. Government and the department has raised a query. 14 days plus 2 years would be applied. Controversy in respect of response dated 10th January 2020. In that days, the period expires. But as I said, the period of 14 days would be extra. That's why this is coming under review. The deficiency memo, the controversy in respect of response dated 10th February 2020 to the said deficiency memo, the acknowledgement on record indicates that it was acknowledged as fresh application. you have to apply the fresh only. That is dated in GST RFD3 form. Order dated 29th April 2020. The petition applicant was rejected on the ground that same was beyond the period of limitation. But as I said, rule includes this much. That's why this is not time barred. Understanding of appellate authority. What is A? A did not go through the whole rule. They have rejected the application. They said the plain reading of the said order indicated that the clarification submitted by 20th February 20 was treated as a fresh application. Since the same was beyond 2 years, the date of filing, it was 22nd, the petition was denied the claim of refund. The petition is ignored. The A has rejected on the ground the basis that it was appellant's class on a plain reading of the said order. So this is an order. This A has rejected on the ground that A had proceeded on the basis that it was appellant's case, that it has filed the GST or RFD1 physically on 17th January 2020. A reason that an application could only file only online. A thought that it should be filed online, and the same appears to be the reason for rejecting the application. AO rejected on the ground of it is beyond 2 years. A rejected on the ground that it should be filed online. The impugned order found to be palpably erroneous or revised as petitioner has filed online application on 17th January 2020. It also not disputed that the said application was within the period of limitation as stipulated in section 54. If you read section 54 with 89, it was in time. The petitioner, the first appellate refunded was incomplete and therefore could not be processed. He has applied in time, was rejected. The claim for refund was in excess paid by the enormous assumption that document as mentioned in KLM of Rule 2989.1, 89.2, the application with Rule 2 shall be accompanied by any of the document as mentioned in GST RFD1 as applicable to establish the refund claim. The said contention ex officio, the said contention is ex officio enormous, as the form specifically requires the applicant to disclose the statement of excess tax. That petitioner is earnestly contend that it was open for the respondent to seek any document required for clarification relating to a refund claim by the taxpayer. However, the taxpayer's application cannot be considered deficient if it is duly accompanied by the proposal. Said contention is relevant to be merited. However, I have given you his judgment this spell. I have explained you the basis of judgment and why it should be accepted. What is the reason? However, the said contention does not address the fact that the A has not rejected the petition on the ground that it was not filed and was deficient. It was done on use that it was filed physically. A has not gone into effect. He is in the assumption that it cannot be filed physically. But it was already filed online only. That has referred Rule 1893 of the rules and procedure on the basis of the said rule provide that a fresh referred application for recognition of deficiency and the date of the fresh application is required to be given for the purpose of limitation. What I said, limitation period of 17, that should be a part of that. Held Rule 93, 90 subsection rule cannot be applied in the manner as short by A. Merely because certain other document of clarification are short by way of a deficient memo. The same will not read application filed by the taxpayer non-us. I have applied on the limitation of time, rejected, I have submitted to fresh application. Doesn't mean that my application will not exist because it is filed after the period of this thing. The period between these two can be added for the purpose of this section. If the application filed a deficient memo, it cannot be treated if it is accompanied with document mentioned it is right true. It cannot be ignored for the purpose of limitation. The limitation would necessarily stop on filing the application. This is not to say that information disclosed may not warrant further clarification. However, that by itself cannot lead to a conclusion that application is required to be treated as non-est for the purpose of document as section 89, section 50 proceeds. It is in order to assume that the application which is accompanied by the document as referred in the Rule 89 is required to be only after taxpayer furnish a clarification of further document as required by the process, that too from the date of clarification issued. Thus, judgment says you are entitled for this thing. So here the period is considered. Okay. Now I'm taking last judgment of the day. Then whatever left, I'll consider on the next week. The contention, Laria Alvara House versus State of UP. The contention of the council for the petition is that appellate authority has erred in dismissing delayed condemnation application. The condition, Laria Alvara Home. The contention of the council for the petition that appellate authority erred in dismissing the delay in condemnation of application. However, he argued that in the event the court finds that appellate court had rightly dismissed the application for extension period of limitation. Court says it's okay, you cannot be granted an extension ad valorem. Considering the law, which is clearly settled by the Supreme Court in MP Steel Corporation versus Commission, I do not find any error in the appellate order dated 30th September 2022, where the appeal was dismissed on the ground of limitation. This court should hear the matter in respect of challenge on 24th January on the ground of which were available to challenge to quasi-judicial order in excess of the power under Article 226 of the Constitution. More so, as to doctrine of merger would not apply to the appeal has been dismissed on the ground of limitation and not on merit. What they're saying, we are agreeing to that, but we want to for Article 226, and hence we would consider this application. However, this court is to consider validity of Order 24 on the limited ground that which were available in judicial review. Under Article 226 of the Constitution of India, the order under is not merged with 30th September. This is a very typical judgment. You can use it in your case. It is claimed that the petitioner has uploaded the relevant document for sale or inward supply and has claimed ITC in accordance with the law. However, financial year 17-18, an inspection was carried out by the Deputy Commissioner SIB Gorakhpur on 20th April 2018. A Panchnama was prepared in pursuance to the inspection carried out. What was that? Lari Almara Home House was a party to SIB report. And in SIB report, they assumed that his name was there. The search was taken place, notice were issued, but SCN were never the report was given to Lari Almara Home, and there was no collaborative evidence was provided. Hence, though he was as he was not provided the opportunity to go to the papers which are there in SIB, and they were not allowed to corroborate the evidence. They have never come to the party and assume that these are the, suppose ABC is the invoice or the purchase you have made, and you are not taken input credit on the basis of SIB report. Hence, the judgment is SIB report was not given and SIB was not reported with the collaboration. Hence, this claim is likely to be rejected. Clear? This I am just reading for the purpose of clarification. It is argued that in terms of the state search and seizure, summons were issued to the petitioner under section 70 on 20th April 2008. Petitioner appealed in pursuit of the said summons and filed a reply. He said that I am not a party to it. He has given all details. But subsequently, on 2nd October, after more than 3.5 years, the petitioner served as a SCN dated under section 75. 74 is an assessment provision. 70 is a search and date process on the basis of this SIB service. The said so-called notice on record, along with the so-called not relied upon the document mentioned in the petition, not even supplied a copy of SIB report. The petition was asked for the adjournment and was waiting for the reply of SIB. However, an ex-party order was passed, dated 24th June 2020 on the basis of SIB report. The contention of the counsel of the petitioner, entire proceeding initiated against the petitioner on 2nd September 2021 was based on the SIB report without supplying the copy of FSC report. The petitioner was not in a position to reply to the SCN as he doesn't have a SIB report. He further argued that order dated 24th January 2020 is an ex-parte order solely on the basis of SIB report and without being any effort made by the department to corroborate the evidence that this is a SIB report, this is my party, these are the bills which is wrongly input tax credit was given. He further argued that even if for the sake of argument it is accepted that the survey of SIB, there were many discrepancies in the recording of the material, it is still incumbent upon the department to establish that tax was not paid on the supplier affected, corroborating the same by means of some evidence, either in the form of the purchase of goods or otherwise. The power of search and seizure is conferred by virtue of section 67 of the Act, and the power of security, scrutiny of return. The power of search and seizure is conferred by virtue of section 67, and the power of scrutiny is under section 61. Both the said section 61 and 67 are steps of initial proceeding under section 73 and 74. They in by itself do not form a concluding evasion of tax, which has to be established qua section 73-74. 74 from its plain reading confers the power to assess non-payment of tax or supply or wrong availment of input credit and the reason of fraud, willful misstatement or suppression of facts, irrespective of the outcome of the scrutiny. Under section 61 of the inspection carried out to the Department of 67, the burden of SSOP is a short payment or wrong payment, which is not discharged by the department, hence the order needs to be quashed. To calculate and assess the non-payment of it is essential that relevant evidence is carried out by the department. In respect of taxable supplies made by the SSC and non-payment of tax, which is required to be done at the time of supply of specified relief, it is also incumbent on the department to compute the value of taxable supply on the ground which is alleged that the tax was neither nor paid nor short paid or short levied. In addition to this, the burden of the department to establish that the said non-payment was on account of fraud, willful misstatement and suppression. Mere report of the inspection and discrepancy does not should be corroborated with the material. They should be corroborated, hence very obvious. It is also the incumbent upon the department to give opportunity of hearing as per section 75(4) of the Act. It is equally well that the document proposed to be relied upon should be provided by the SSC prior to conclusion of this. In this case, the present case, the order of 24th January 2020 falls short of the principle of mutual justice. No hearing was granted under section 75(4). There is a prima facie no material other than SIB report to corroborate with this. The matter remanded back to appellate authority. This I missed this, and now there will be another sequel 3 on 17th. I'm going to take this lecture. This is sequel 3. Sequel 4 would come. 17th will come on 6:30. Today is 10. Next Friday, same time. I'll take then another this thing. 17th I've already covered. With this, I'm concluding. I'm opening the session for any question anyone has to ask. I would open. Okay. You can ask me the question. Question is open. You can unmute yourself. Anyone wants to ask a question? Bharat Bhai, Jain Bhai, or anyone else to ask a question, or you can just mail me the question, I'll reply. With this, I conclude this session of today. I'm ending this session. We will meet soon on next uh, 17th, 6:30 p.m. same blog. I am concluding the session, and this recording would also be available on the blog. Thank you very much.